אין כא-לו-הינו, אין כא-אדוננו, אין כמלכנו, אין כמושיענו, מכא-לו-הינו, מכא-אדוננו, מכמלכנו, מכמושיענו, נודה לאלוהינו, נודה לאדוננו, נודה למלכנו, נודה למושיענו, ברוך אלוהינו, ברוך אדוננו, ברוך מלכנו, ברוך מושיענו. אתה הוא אלוהינו, אתה הוא אדוננו, אתה הוא מלכנו, אתה הוא מושיענו, אתה הוא שהכתירו אבותינו.
Hello everyone, as we continue through our series, what about the Kaddish after כא-לו-הינו? Before we get to it, let's just talk about that Kaddish, the Kaddish Derabanan. The Gemara says in Masechet Sota, Daf Mem Tet Amud Aleph, B'chol yom vayom merubeh kilato mishel chavero. Ever since the destruction of the temple, every day is more cursed than the day before. And Alma amai kamekayim, and how is the world continued to function? Because of two things the Jewish people say. Second that we'll get into is Yehesh me Rabba de Agadita. Explains Rashi, what's this Yehesh me Rabba? Yehesh me Rabba mevarech shonim achar Haggadah. The Yehesh me Rabba, they said after the drasha. Shahadarshan larish barabim bechol Shabbat. Beautiful thing. On the day that the Jewish people don't work, they got together. There was a darshan. He came out and gave a drasha, and they said Kaddish Derabanan afterwards and said Yehesh me Rabba. Here is the question: did Rashi say it b'dafka? Namely, it has to be a drasha on Sukkim, or no? Even if you learn halacha, even if you learn Torah Shebaal Peh, it would be good enough. This would have direct ramifications on our question. Because after we say En Kah-lo-Keinu, we quote Mishnas, Gemaras, Pitum HaKtoret, etc. Do we or don't we say Kaddish Derabanan? Comes along, says the Rambam in his Siddur, Kaddish Derabanan. I'll define it for you. Kol asara mi-Yisrael o yeter she'oskin b'Talmud Torah She'al Peh ve'afilu b'midrashot u'v'Haggadot. Anytime 10 people learn together, it can be halacha, it could be agada, it could be Jewish philosophy. If 10 people learn together, you say this Kaddish. Explains the Aruch HaShulchan, the opinion of the Rambam, that the davka asara shalomdim biyachad yesh reshut lamar Kaddish seh. When 10 people learn together, you could say this Kaddish. The Torah codifies, Simon Reish Tet Vav, that when children would learn Torah, if there was a minyan there, Tinokot shel Beit Rabban, Yesh mefarshe de miftare nafshu achar shelamdu niftarim misham v'omrim Kaddish. After they learned, they said Kaddish Derabanan, and more than that. It could very well be Kaddish Derabanan is only said when you say an agada. The Be'er Sheva, a famous shoot that was written right after the Shulchan Aruch died, or right before he died. His year is 1550 to 1623. Rabbi Eilenberg, he was a rabbi in Italy, even though he was born in Poland. He comes along and says, Katav Rambam Sof Pirkei Avot she'en omrim oto ela al ha'Haggadah. And therefore, he says, we say Rabbi Chananya ben Akasha Omer, because that's an Agada. Ratzah Kadosh Baruch Hu l'zakot et Yisrael. God wanted to bring favor to the Jewish people. Therefore, he gave them Torah and mitzvot. Shene and Maru, we quote a pasuk. So, En Kah-lo-Keinu, with due respect, does not answer that criteria, because no one's learning together. They're saying it. There's 10 people in the room. If you would ask him what is the rules and ramifications and criteria of bringing the Ketores, I'm pretty sure they also wouldn't know. From this perspective, I'm not so sure this helps us. And Avraham brings this point of view and adds to it that in Likudei Pardes, Omrim Pasuk or Mishnah, Tzarich Lomar Kaddish. When you say a Pasuk or a Mishnah, you say Kaddish. Lefikach Omrim Kaddish Achei Psukim de Zimra, because there's Psukim there. And we say it after Bamim Matlikin, but not enough to say Bamim Matlikin. Omer B'siyuman, Amar Rabbi Elazar, Amar Rabbi Chananya, Tamidei Chachamim, Rabbi Shalom Ba'olam. We have to say afterwards that passage, because in that passage you have Agada, you have a pasuk, and you have its explanation. So ultimately, it could very well be that in the morning after En Kah-lo-Keinu, we say Amar Rabbi Elazar, Amar Rabbi Chanina, just like we say after Bamim Matlikin, and that would require to say Kaddish. But we're not learning it, we're saying it. Is saying it enough? It seems very clear from the way that the Magen Avraham quotes the Likudei Pardes, כשהציבור אומרים פסוק או משנה, צריך לומר Kaddish. So for him, for sure you say Kaddish after En כא-לו-הינו. But it seems from others that you're learning it. It's not that you're saying it. In any case, the Aruch HaShulchan indeed says, Yesh shekatvu she'en lomar Kaddish. There are those that say you don't say Kaddish, ela al divrei Haggadah, only on Aggadita. V'lachen nahagu lomar is a ma'amar Agadi achar halimud kedei lomar Kaddish Derabanan. And therefore you say, after you learn, Rabbi Chananya ben Akashya Omer. And that's the way the Mishnah Berurah paskins. Achar shelamad is an inyan mitorah sheba'al peh. You could say Kaddish Derabanan, but because of this, it's better to say Rabbi Chananya ben Akashya Omer because that has Haggadah in a pasuk. But once again, that's only if you learned together. So except for the Likudei Pardes, ultimately just saying it wouldn't suffice. More than that. Do you even get, is it even considered learning? Well, in my opinion, not. Because the Mishnah Berurah says, if you didn't understand, take a book you do understand, and it gives you a great idea. The Ka'et, in the time of the Mishnah Berurah, we're talking about the beginning of the 20th century, they were very, very advanced. Yesh bizmanenu, he says, bizmanenu yesh kama sfarim b'ma'amarei chazal mu'takim al lashon Ashkenaz. You have it in German, you have it in Yiddish, so you basically learn it in the vernacular. Take an art scroll Gemara and learn it, because now you understand it. But without understanding, it's not considered learning. Indeed, the Shulchan Aruch Harav, namely the founder of the Lubavitcher movement of Shneur Zalman Miladi, says that if it's psukim from the Torah, you do get a kiyum of learning Torah. And therefore, in the morning, you can say Birkas HaShachar, and you say Yivarechacha Hashem v'Yishmerecha. That's a pasuk. But Bamet Varim Amorim says that's b'Torah shebichtav. Aval b'Torah sheba'al peh, im eino mevin ha'perush, eino nechshav limud. But in Torah sheba'al peh, no. En kא-לו-הינו is Torah sheba'al peh. The Mishnah Berurah, by the way, doesn't accept this. He ultimately says, Prat Amei Haratzot tzarich shavinu ha'perush, kedei sheyetzu b'zeh yedei limud mikra u'mishnah v'gemara. Lumping together Tanakh together with Mishnah and Gemara, he doesn't see any difference. And the Pri Megadim agrees that with Tefillah, you could say the words even if you don't understand. God understands what you mean. Mashe ein ken belemud tzarich lahavin. And he doesn't make a difference between Mishnah, Gemara, and Psukim. And indeed, the Eshel Avraham from Buchach comes along and says, Odot hameha haratzot shenan ovdim kol hayom mevarchim, yesh gam tzad zchut. They don't learn all day, they still say Birkas HaTorah. I'll tell you why. Because right after we say the Birkas HaTorah, we say Yivarechecha, and that they understand. Meaning even in Psukim you have to understand. So no one's learning. They're just saying it. And if you don't understand it, it's probably not learning Torah. And therefore, even those that say that you can say Kaddish Derabanan after Aggadita, and it's in there, Amar Rabbi Elazar, Amar Rabbi Chanina, that's only if 10 people learn together. But we're not learning it, we're just saying it. And therefore, I'm not so sure that this would mechayev, this would obligate us to say Kaddish Derabanan. Kaddish Derabanan could be said and should be said after 10 people learn together. Better to say Rabbi Chananya ben Akashya to cover yourself. But if 10 people are not learning together, they're just saying it, then I'm not so sure that you should say Kaddish Derabanan.
En כא-לו-הינו, en כא-דוננו, en כמלכנו, en כמושיענו. Non como nuestro Dios, non como nuestro Señor, non como nuestro Rey, non como nuestro Salvador. מי כא-לו-הינו, מי כא-דוננו, מי כמלכנו, מי כמושיענו.